Hello. Happy Friday. Couple things to remember. Projects are due today. Please be sure to get that turned in. All right. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're making good choices. And let's get started with our lesson together. We're going to start with our objective. So let's go ahead and get rolling with that. As we go over our objective, be sure to circle any words you don't know, and remember that Bold Print's words are found back on our word wall, and I have some of our definitions for you right here. Okay. Remember also that we have two reasons for an objective. What's our performance-based objective for? Well, reason number one, it is a resource for what? Vocabulary. Vocabulary. And then reason number two, it focuses, it's our focus for the day. So those are some things to remember. All right, so let's go over our objective. The student will be able to utilize. What does utilize use? You should know because we've done it several times. It means to use properties of operations. Properties, another word for properties is rules. And the operations are add, subtract, multiply, and divide. With fractions, what's a different way we could say fractions? Oh, starts with an R. Ratios. To demonstrate. When we're demonstrating something, we're showing someone how to do something. So we're showing how to do something. And you're showing your reason in order to determine, another word for determine is decide, the product. What's a product? The results of a multiplication problem. And the quotient. What's a quotient? The result of a division problem of rational numbers. Rational numbers are any numbers that can be written as a ratio. What's another word for a ratio? It is a fraction. Very good. So that's our focus for the day. Let's read it all together. And by let's, that means you're listening but following along with me on your paper. You should have annotated as I did. The student will be able to utilize the properties of operations with fractions to demonstrate their reasoning in order to determine the product and quotient of rational numbers. So our guiding question today, how can I use my previous knowledge of division and multiplication of fractions to solve problems with rational numbers? As we go, you're going to be showing your work with the video here, and we've got a few friendly reminders. First off, we need to talk about the order of operations. Order of operations. Step 1 in order of operations, we need to look for parentheses. Step 2, we need to look for exponents. Step 3, we're looking for multiplication or division, and we look for those from left to right. And then finally, we do addition or subtraction from left to right. So let's see an example 1. We have parentheses, -6 plus 8, close parentheses. Oh, what does this mean? It looks like a fraction. So what does this line mean? It means division. So I need to remember that when I'm working in my problem. So we have divided by -2. So step 1, parentheses. Inside my parentheses, I have -6 plus 8. So I'm going to do that first. In addition, the first rule of addition is I have to ask myself, are my signs the same or are they different? Well, I have a negative and I have a positive. Well, that tells me right there that they're different. So when they're different, step 1, if you don't know, it's on the wall. Step 1 is subtract the absolute values. To show absolute values, we do our lines straight up and down. We subtract the larger number minus the smaller number, and we get our answer 2. Step 2 on the rules, don't forget step 2 or you'll get it wrong, is take the sign of the larger absolute value. Which of these has a larger absolute value? -6 or +8? +8 has a larger absolute value, so my answer is going to be +2. So then I'm going to rewrite the rest of my problem. I'm going to substitute it back in where I had that -6. I have a +2 now, divided by a -2. So first thing I'm going to do is see what my signs are. Positive on top, negative on the bottom. A positive divided by a negative is a negative. You are right if you said negative. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So my answer should be -1. Hope that makes sense. And I hope you understand. If you need to rewatch it to help you, that is acceptable as well. Here's in that real world context like we talked about, and we're using the rules. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in real world context today, but we're using our rules of multiplication and division. So here we go. Jerry was using a recipe for a large pie that requires 1/2 a cup of sugar. Instead of making one large pie, Jerry decided to make a recipe of 3 small pies. How much sugar should she use for each small pie? So, if I'm thinking out loud here, in my cup, I need 1/2 of a cup for a big, large pie, but I'm dividing that into 3 pieces. So, 1/2 divided by, I could write this a different way too, couldn't I? I could write this like this, 1/2 divided by 3. So what can I do to do that? Well, in multiplication or apologies, in division of fractions, I can make this whole number a fraction by putting it over 1. And we use keep, change, flip. Keep that first fraction the same. Change that division sign to a multiplication sign. Flip that second fraction to its reciprocal. That means I put the denominator as the numerator and the numerator as the denominator. So I get 1/3. So now I have 1/2 times 1/3. And I'm going to work it out. And I get 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 3 is 6. Very good. So your answer is she needs 1/6 of a cup in each of the small pies. And to check that, we could check ourselves. So to make 3 small pies, we would have, I don't know why I drew that. We would have 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6. And then we get 1 plus 1 plus 1, which is 3. I can go ahead and add them because they all have the same denominator. 3/6, I know, can be divided by 3. Divide by 3, and I get 1/2. So we did get the correct answer. So 1/6 of a cup. So I would probably personally write something like, she needs 1/6 of a cup of sugar for each pie. Superb. Questions. If you're having major questions, I recommend that you watch me think through things again, just so that you can know what's going on, okay? All right, wonderful people. Number 3. Oh, this is a special property that we talked about 2 days ago called, anybody remember? The distributive property. And what that means is I take the number that's on the outside and distribute it to everything that's on the inside of those parentheses. So I'm going to go ahead and expand this. So what I get is -4/5 times 1/3 times -4/5 times 25. Okay, when I multiply fractions, I can just multiply across. So I have a negative times a positive, because I can't forget those rules. And that gives me a negative, so my answer is going to be negative. So 4 times 1 is 4. 5 times 3 is 15. I'm going to put that 25 over 1. Negative, times a positive, again, is a negative. Forgot to put my negative sign. I wrote it, but I didn't write it. I wrote the word, is what I mean by that, and didn't write my sign. I have 4 times 25, which is 100. And 5 times 1 is 5. So then I get a negative 100 divided by 5. Oh, I can do that. I can work that out. So 100 divided by 5 is -20 times 4 over 15. -4 over 15. And I get, I'm going to put this over 1. I'm going to put my whole number over 1 to make it a fraction. I have a negative now times a negative, which is going to be a positive. So my answer is going to be positive. I get 4 times 20, which is 80. 15 times 1 is 15. So now what I have is 80 divided by 15, and we said that's going to be positive. So I'm going to do 80 divided by 15. Well, what I know is that 15 plus 15 is 30, plus 15 is 45, plus 15 is 60, plus 15 is 75. So that's 5. So let's do out of 5. So we get 5. That is, so 15 times 5 is 75. I'm going to subtract. Put my decimal. Bring down my 0. 15 will go into that 5 times, because that is 45. Five times, so that's 45. Oh, it's going to be repeating. So we get, what I would do is I would stop right here at this 5 then. If I'm going to get, if I'm going to get a repeating decimal, I would stop, right here at this 5, and let me show you why. I got 5, and then I can make a mixed number. With my remainder, I got 5, and I can put it over the original, which that can reduce, divide by 5, divide by 5, and I get 1/3. All right. I was making sure my math was right, but that is my answer. If it's not, y'all message me for extra credit and tell me what it should be. But I'm pretty sure that's correct. All right. On this problem, it is parentheses, parentheses. What does parentheses mean? Parentheses means to multiply. So we're going to go from left to right and multiply. So I have -9/2 times 1/6. When I'm multiplying fractions, I still have to do my, what do we call them? Our properties. I still have to use my properties. So I have a negative and a positive. So my answer should be negative. And I have 9 times 1 is 9. 2 times 6 is 12. So I get a negative 9/12. Can 9/12 reduce? Yes, I can divide by 3 and get 3. Divide by 3 and get 4. So I get negative 3/4. And then I'm going to multiply that times the leftover of my equation. There again, I have a negative times a negative. I'm using those properties. That's going to give me a positive answer. And that just helps me when I go to write my answer, because I've already done that thinking. And then I do 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 3 is 12. 6 and 12 we can reduce down. We can divide by 6. And I get 1/2. Oh, it's 1/2. And our answer was supposed to be positive. So we get a positive 1/2. There are some questions for you to do. Make sure you're annotating your problems. Something you can do, I will give you permission, and only for this, and you're not working the problems this way, but you're allowed to do this. Check your work with a, guess what I'm going to say, calculator. They're on your tablet. You can check your work with a calculator. That is fine and good. And I wish you guys a happy weekend. Make sure you do all of your practice, and it helps if you spell weekend right, doesn't it? I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. I miss you, and I can't wait to see you again very, very soon. Have a great rest of your day. Make good choices. And if you need something, please let me know.